I just, I'm trying to figure out the lay of the land and what's the best way for me to get information out to everyone, including our fans. And so this may be a way of doing it. We have things coming up that I want to get out, and I want it out everywhere. And so it can't just be us putting it out or me putting it out. I'll go through a couple things going on, and then I'll answer all your questions. We have this women's clinic coming up Sunday, the 5th. Done it before, and it's always been a home run because it's another group that you connect with and become embedded in the program. And let me say this, these mothers and grandmothers end up adopting these players. And I don't mean having them over the house. I'm saying that's who they root for. And it's all different people. We already have what we thought we'd have, and we only put it out for a couple of days, and it's at a number already that I was like, wow. So I kind of feel that it'll take off, and it's going to be one of those things people look forward to. And I even said, for the women who are coming in for the Tennessee football game, make your husband stay. He can't come to the event, but make him stay. And then you can tell him what happened during practice after we're done and after the clinic's over. So hopefully we're not shutting it down right now, but we got the number we thought we'd get already. But there may come a point where I said, I don't want it to be too big the first year because we're not the facilities and stuff. I don't know my way around everything yet. So we have the tip-off tour. So we're going to Hot Springs on the 12th. We're going to Pine Bluff on the 13th. My guess is they'll both be sold out. And you might ask, why are you doing this? Like what is it that leads you to do things that take the team to the state? Well, first of all, this program is the state's program. By going to them, it's kind of like we're going to where you are. You don't always have to come to us. And my guess is there are going to be people in both venues. It's their first opportunity to see a player, the team, the coach in person. Now, that could mean they're 8, 9, 12 years old. It could mean they're 70. And this is their chance to see these players or this team in person. That's one of the reasons I want to do it. I also want to get the kids out in the community to understand the importance to this state that this program has. We're going to do things that I like to do in all these kind of events. We're going to do a Samaritan's Feet event, and we're going to give away 3,000 pair of tennis shoes in both places. There'll be 3,000 that we'll give away. And if you look up or Google Samaritan's Feet, you'll have an idea of what it means. And it's about having young people where you wash their feet, you talk to them, you create hope, you give them a hug, you let them know someone cares. And the impact it has on the young people, yeah, but the impact it has on my players, enormous. And if you've ever been in one of those events, you would know. So we're going to do those before we do anything on the basketball court in both Hot Springs and Pine Bluff. Autographs, pictures with the team. We're going to do different things, probably a mini practice, but it's more of us getting into the communities like that. We're doing the exhibitions for charity. We're going to do for Children's Hospital. So it gives us a chance to, again, do something to give back to the community. But it also puts us against opponents, Kansas and TCU in Dallas, where we're playing down there, that you're probably going to get stung pretty good. But it's perfect for us to figure out where we are right now, for our fans to see where we are, the staff, everyone has an idea of where we are right now, and that we got work to do, that I've never promised to have a magic wand. My teams usually at the beginning of the year will struggle some, and by the end of the year, we're playing at our best. I imagine that'll be the same. That for our team, and even after that, Lipscomb, Lenny Acuff's one of the best coaches in the country. Lipscomb's going to come in here and be a hard game. And then our next game is Baylor. They're top 5, and we're playing them down in Dallas. So you could take some spills early, and they be what you need at that point. We may play better than we thought. But this is all about building a culture, the culture of what is expected, and whatever that is, do more. What's expected of you in this program? Well, you know what that is, but do more. And then what is unacceptable? That's when you start building culture. And part of that culture is learning what not to do to lose. You want to lose a ball game, do these things, and you're losing. And so it's both that and here's what it takes to win. So I'm excited that we're starting, that we're getting underway, that we're piecing a team together, that we've begun to build the culture, but there's always the ups and downs. It normally takes my programs 2 or 3 years to really get stuff established the way you want it. You try to win as many as you can. You try to see what level each team is. But I've had to do it with new teams every year, wherever I've been. But I'm not the guy, we're going to do this, and that isn't who I am. I'm a grinder. I get a team. We develop conditioning, defense, team play, doing it together, being sustained, that effort. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing with this group. Got a great group. They're listening. They're responsive. If anybody's been in our practice, they would say, wow, they really listen. So then you come back to your staff and say, they're listening. I hope we're telling them the right things because they are listening. So it's been a good group so far. Questions?
Yeah, I remember when we talked, I guess it was at the end of July, you talked about stress and individual work at that point. What I assume now will be more teamwork. Kind of what are the big points you're going to hit here early?
Well, even when they came back, I shifted some to team 5-man, how we're going to play together, both offensively and defensively. The summer was total development of players, and we really didn't do much of that team stuff. So now, first of all, when you talk defense, you're not only individually, you're talking team. And then team play is how do we make each other better? Some of that is how do we play for this team to be at its best? We're going to play fast. We're going to be unselfish. But how do you get into playing fast? Who takes it out of bounds with this group? I've done different things. I've had the 5 take it out. I've had the 4 take it out. I've had the 3 take it out different places because of those teams. We're still working that through. And the answer will probably be given to us by the players. They'll do things that will say, this is the best way for this team to play. But you're right. And, you say, you don't have the team stuff locked down yet and you're going to play Kansas. Yeah. You're going to get hit in the mouth, but you're hoping they swing. You're hoping they, will learn from that experience. Want to win every game I coach. But when you're building and you're doing this, you got to throw them into the fire and see where they are right now. And then we'll all know, here's where we are as we start this process.
Question about Kenny Payne too, if that's okay. Got talking to him the other day, really enjoyed it. You guys had great success together at Kentucky. Things didn't go well at Louisville. I know he had other options going back to the NBA. Why was it important to you to bring him back, and what does he bring to the table being back on your staff?
Well, Kenny and I really work together well, but I've done that with other staff members too. But I looked at Kenny and I said, what I want you to remember, you're Kenny. I used an adjective, Payne. Don't you forget that. And I want you to come here and be that same guy. I want you to be who you are. I want you to challenge the kids. I want you to be involved in what we're doing, talking to me offensively and defensively. And he gives me an experienced guy that I already know how we work together. So when you ask what was the importance, if I had to walk in with a whole new staff, you ready? A whole new team. You ready? And no schedule. At least I got the staff. We know each other. We know what we want to do. And then I bring in Kenny, who we've been together. So yeah, it was important for me. And I think important for the kids. I want guys on this staff that add value to young people. They don't need to tell me what I want to hear. I've done this enough. Do you add value? Do you help them get better? Do you tell them the truth? Are you trying to just be their friend? Will you keep it? Will they respect you because you're keeping it real? You're telling them what they need to hear. And hopefully we got a staff full of guys, and I believe we do, that will be that way.
Yeah, Tyler Eulis obviously now on the staff. Just what has he brought so far, and how have you enjoyed just kind of working with a guy you coached as well?
Well, let me say this. The first time I saw him play, first thing I said was, he's too small. He's 5'8", 150. He says he's 5'9". I don't believe it. But then the more I watched him, I'm like, wait a minute. And I've never really had small point guards. I'm like, this guy's different. He's got something. And it's an easy statement about him, which was, if you're good enough, you're big enough. Care about size. If you're good enough, you're big enough. And he ends up being drafted after 2 years. And probably, you may want to look it up, but I'll make the statement. I believe he was the lightest player ever drafted in the NBA draft. And you think about that. There may have been somebody smaller, and no one that was weighing what he weighed. Great basketball mind. When he was my point guard, he did a lot of coaching of the team. I never said no to any of his suggestions. He would say something, I'd say, I like it, let's go with it. So having him back, giving him that opportunity. He had the injury in the NBA, set him back. He had a car accident, almost took his leg off. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to come back and play. To give him a start, let him get going, be an on-the-court coach. So, and the kids will respect him.
Time we were in here, you mentioned, Chin Coleman potentially being the next guy from your staffs to go on and get his own opportunity. What about him kind of says that to you?
I've been around him enough to know the basketball, the feel for the game, that he's not afraid to coach, that he's good in recruiting, in recruiting situations, in homes. He's good. He's driven and wired. You got to be authentic at this stuff. You can't try to fake it or be. He is who he is, and he loves it. And that's why I say he not only that, I think he'll be really, really successful.
Coach, I'm curious how y'all are health-wise as you go into practice. I think I saw a picture where maybe Big Z was in a boot, maybe someone else. How are y'all doing health-wise?
We've been beat up a little bit, but that's everybody. There's no excuses. Guys get hurt. Z's fine, but he was in a boot for a while. Other guys were hurt and came back. We got a couple guys that are going to be out a week or two. That's the last thing on my mind. Getting these guys to be a team, but number one, being in great condition, be that no one is more conditioned than we are. Well, then the second thing is defensively, I think we're physical enough to be that kind of team. And then offensively, it's play fast and share the ball. Well, yeah, we'll give you some actions, but this is going to be about these other two things first, which means, like normal, my offense will be behind a little bit. When we start the season, it'll clunk along. then you'll start seeing it. But that's how I've normally built teams.
And you already mentioned your exhibition games, Kansas coming here and playing TCU. Is that kind of a philosophy that you want to go use every year, playing two big time schools like that? And you like the home and away aspect, playing one here and one on the road?
Well, the thing I tell you that I've been saying this for a decade. Why are we not playing each other in exhibition games? You got TV, you can put it on, the fans get to see it. Well, what's the reason? And they said, because. I said, well, because what? Because. So by now letting us do as charity, it solves two issues for me. It gets us involved in different things in our community. And we get to play these kind of people. And, Bill and I and Jamie and I, we're all good friends. Let's play zone for 5 minutes. Let's press each other. Let's do some situation work. Let's do 2-3 minute situations. We're up 8 and then we're down 8. Let's see how we play. Why not? It's good for both programs. People are going to want to see it. I'm just, like I said, I like to challenge the guys. And when you're doing this, another building, and you need everybody to see where the program is against, you get hyped. You play a couple bad teams, 3 bad teams. We're the best in the world. And then you come out and you get your ears clipped back. Yeah, because you're not really what you think you are. And most of us coaches would know that. And you try to warn everybody we're not what we think we are. And no one listens to, yeah, you're 3-0, so. But I think it serves both purposes.
Yeah, 'cause you said it takes about 2 or 3 years for your program to really get your feet under you. You have a handful of guys that were with you at Kentucky for a couple of years. How important is that having them
Most of
here
them
for
were
the
1 year,
transition?
but go ahead.
Yeah.
Or no years.
Yeah, they do for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But how important is that having them here with you now?
Well, the guys that have been with me can let the others know what I won't accept. They'll tell them, look, I played for him. He's not accepting that right there. So you can go do it, but it ain't going to work. The other thing is, they know how consistent, I'm not going to change. I'm not up and I'm coming every day noticing. I'm going to notice. Don't think I'm not noticing. In most cases, if you're in my practice, I stop them way too much because I notice too much and I'm not going to let stuff pass. But having them here is important. But that's them educating about me. Reality of it is it's going to take a team. These guys got to come together. And you can't be so worried about yourself that you're not worried about your team. But you got to be responsible for yourself. I'm not responsible for you. Are you getting in the cold tub after practices? Are you stretching? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you eating? Don't come to practice and say, I have a headache. Really? Did you eat breakfast? No. Did you eat lunch? No. Well, what do you expect? You're going to have a headache. You are responsible for you. And then we bring this team together and they care about one another so much that it's amazing when they accomplish stuff. Did you watch that Mets Atlanta baseball game? Did you see the Mets, the celebration that these dudes are hugging each other? They're truly family and they're there for each other. But everybody has a role. Some of the better players are held to a higher standard. Some of the other guys, we need you to help whenever you can. And that's when you're putting a team together. So yeah, they're going to help the process, but you got 2 guys, one played and then was injured. Adu played for first year, didn't play that much, but last year, and then he got injured, and Z didn't play till the last 10 games. So, to say they'll know me, yes. To say that they know each other yet, they're still learning.
DJ Wagner is one of those guys. Just kind of what have you seen from him now that he's made that transition over with you, and what do you kind of want to see from him this year after kind of struggling last year with all the expectations he came to Kentucky with?
Well, here's what was funny. Before he got hurt, I believe he was freshman of the week 3 times. Well, he just struggled. No, he was playing great. And then he got hurt and he never really bounced back from that. He had a couple things, but he didn't. I think he's healthy. I think he's more athletic than he was. The kid lives in the gym. He knows how to read his body now. When I need to step back, when I need to, or when I can be uncomfortable and it's good for me. But I'm expecting a lot from him. I mean, you want his leadership. If you walk in my gym, the voice you hear is his. That's the voice you hear, which means he's into his team. And now I want him to play, do what you do. Fail fast. There's some stuff that you did in high school that you can't do in the SEC. Fail fast, learn, try it. And then you, after the third time, I'm looking, do you understand it doesn't work now? So, but I want him to go be who he is. Unbelievably coachable player. Maybe one of the best I've ever had. If you tell him something, he does it that moment, right then. And then I blow the whistle and say, do you guys understand? I just told him and look what he did. He does it. Well, the rest of you catch up to this. Just know whatever we're doing is trying to help you as a player and help the team.
You've had no short of success with freshmen laden rosters, but a little older squad this year in a new era of college basketball. I'm just curious, have you seen any tangible differences, summer workouts with maybe an older team than you normally had?
We're approaching it the same way, but you're right. Right now, I knew you have trouble when the kids were playing against the team and the guy's waving to his two kids in the stands. You're saying, this got a little old now. What are we doing here? So to say you're going to do it with 18 and 19-year-olds against 24 and 25-year-olds, you got to make that adjustment. We have 3 freshmen on the team, really 4, but those 3, and we have some older players. Let's see. Now, I want to have a roster of 8 or 9, 10 guys. We all know 10, 11, 12. Will they have an opportunity to play? Yeah, you have injuries. Maybe they play better. Maybe they are better than I even thought. Yeah. But the reality of it is you have a group. If that doesn't work, I'll change that. So, but the whole thing has changed. So we got to look at this and say, all right, it's different. How do we become first at this environment? How are we first? And I'm saying it still comes down to, 1, you want to win at the highest level, but 2, you better develop young people. If you're developing them to run your plays, they never seem to get drafted. Now, you may say, well, it's more important that they run the plays and we try to win than they become pros. Well, if you do this and they're getting better and better and they become pro prospects, your team's got an upside. It's way better. How you play, we're going to play a certain way. I'm telling you, every year I coach, I don't know. I still don't know who I'm going to take it out with right now. How could you? Don't you have a system that says this guy? I got new players every year. So I do want him to be older. Do I want him to be 25? I guess that would be okay. When I had Reed, when Travis, when he came from Stanford. He was older, like the oldest player I coached for a while. We talked politics, we talked stuff. I said, yeah, this is kind of fun. I can talk to somebody that's like a little bit older than 18 and, who's president? Who is president? Whatever it is. And so, yeah, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm going to be honest, folks. I go out and recruit and I see these young kids and I see the environments and the opportunities they have. And I ask their why, and it's to take care of families. I'm telling you, I want to help 25 to 30 more families before I'm done. That's what I want to do. Now, my guess is winning will follow that too. It always has. And so it's about development. And what I want from the guys that transferred in, wherever they were on that board, a year with us, they've elevated themselves. Now, does that mean they get drafted? Maybe. Or does that mean they go to Europe and have long careers? Possibly. But they're working toward their dreams too. Then the trick is, how do I get guys that are all driven and wired and are high achievers to do this together? Really sacrifice more than anybody else your team does. They give up something to the team. And that's the challenge of what we do.
Curious, the season's almost here personally. Like, has it hit you yet that, this is such a new environment after, all the new roster, new schedule and everything? I mean, is there a level of added excitement maybe for you personally in a new place like this, just a month away?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I'm excited about us getting going, but I got to tell you that, like everywhere I go, people are, Coach, can't believe it. We're so happy. And I just don't know when we lose a game or two where that will go. But I could tell you that as excited as people are that I'm here, I'm excited to be here. And this is an honor. Like, I've gotten together with Coach Richardson. Coach Sutton, you guys know the relationship I had with him, and his son was here. His grandson's in the as a manager for us. But to be in a program where they coach, they're talking 2 Hall of Famers, to be able to be here. And I say this to all of you, and I'm doing this and saying this in a positive way. I'm in a seat that I can use the term, I'm like the rented in the seat. And so what I do with the seat, I think it's important that I get involved in the community. I think it's important that I take the team out and let people see it. I'm approachable, but my players are also approachable. I think that's really important. And if you don't, you cheat the position. So this position, there will be someone else in this position at some point, hopefully after I help 25 or 30 more families. Then their job will be, don't cheat the position. Don't just go watch basketball tape. Don't just be about the plays you're running. Be deeper than that. And that's how I've approached every job that I've had. So,
Coach, sorry for the general question I'm about to ask, but you've been around a lot. You've seen a lot. I'm just curious, in the 6 months you've been here, has there been something that's surprised you?
there was I was up on the square next to Chin or Cheers, and I was sitting on a bench, and this animal with a long tail came walking up behind me. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I didn't know what it was, but then it scurried off. But it was about that big, and the tail was like, so somebody could tell me. I said, I don't know what it was. I'm just happy it ran the other way. It didn't attack me. What was it?
Chupacabra, the mythical Chupacabra.
No, it wasn't mythical. It was real. This thing was there. I mean, it was big.
What about your personnel with your players and stuff? Anything that they've done that has jumped out to you, surprised, maybe something that you didn't know you had with a guy?
They all of them have a competitive spirit. They're all, the biggest thing that we all here didn't have to deal with, what comes at these kids now. Why do more people want to be in their life at an earlier age? Say it. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, no one cared about me when I was 16 and 17. They weren't trying to get a hold of me. They weren't trying to. So all of a sudden you could learn and grow. And now these kids are 15, 16, and you got people in their lives that are all, and then the expectation of what they are supposed to do. And it's like I've had players come with me that needed to stay in school longer, but they were told that, well, you've always been this and you were ranked this, and none of that matters. I even say this, why would you leave early now unless you know with NIL? Why are you leaving early? You can't. Before they'd say, my parents, I got to do this. I get it. So all of that, what they have hanging on them, I'm pretty conscious of that. Having meetings with them, talking to them about if there's anything in your background that you need to rectify, you better, because this is going to be really hard. And you got more people going to be pulling at you, that you have to be clear that everything is cleaned up with you. And then the other thing is, what someone's opinion of you shouldn't matter to you. It's none of your business what their opinion is. Don't go on this internet. Don't go on all the stuff. They were telling me I have 2 million followers. Probably half of them are not fans. I never go on there and look. I put things out. I just found out do I have Snapchat? What's the other thing? What is it? What is it? I didn't even know I had that. What's the other one? Facebook. I mean, they like, and let me say what I'm going to do because we have meals and they still have phones. Some of them have 2 phones or 3 phones. What? So if I'm getting upset, like I'm telling them, you can't live in there. You got to live on the court. The only place they don't have a phone, thank goodness, is on the basketball court. They got to talk to one another. But if they mess around, I'm going to have a practice where they got to have the phone in their hand the whole time. And we're going to practice. Pretty hard to do. Well, it's hard to live a life that way if everything is listening. How about it's hard to sleep if you're laying there? Or what? I heard a buzz. Well, how do you get a good night's sleep? All that matters now when you're in this league playing against older players who are more experienced than you. You better be rested. You better have diet down. You better have you better be your biggest cheerleader. All that stuff is stuff I'm trying to work on with this group. They got to feel good about themselves as players, but because they're doing more than expected. They're coming back from injuries. They're not prolonging because they know, I'm giving the guy a chance and maybe he's better than me. So all that kind of stuff, it just amazes that we as coaches, you have to deal with it. And let me say this, throughout my career, their perception of things is their reality. So you better deal with their perception, because we could all say, crazy, it's not how it is. You're just saying it. Well, if that's what they think it is, to them, that's what it is. And you better deal on those terms.
You can hear them saying in the court out there that it's hard to fathom this building is 31 years old now. Hunter said the other day, the NIL may be slowing some projects down. What do you think in terms of renovation of this place? You talked to Hunter about that.
I've coached in here, and the visitors' locker room is. They're worse though than this in our league. Worse. One has nail things in a board that you hang your stuff on. Here's what I say: when you're coaching, do you ever get to the concourse and go to the bathrooms? Like, all I'm doing is going from my office to walking on that court, seeing 20,000 people going crazy. I'm not in the seats that need to be replaced, so I don't know if they need to be replaced. I'm not on the concourse going and getting a Coke and they need to redo. I leave that all up to Hunter and his group. Whatever needs to be done here should be done, but NIL may slow it down. NIL is going to slow down facilities and different things that programs will want to do. That's why I said here we have the best facilities for basketball, but have you been to the baseball facilities? Have you been to the softball facilities? Have you been to the football facilities? How about track, which has won 40, 50 national titles? Tennis, I mean, all this golf, the blessings that what they have here Now we can get down to how we're going to make this work with NIL and this building. And I'm telling you, I'm fine with this building. Now, some fans may look at me and say, well, my seat, I got something. Oh, I get that, but for our team to walk into Bud Won't, I've been here. I've gotten cheered one time. When did I get cheered here? When they threw me out, they cheered. Now, we'll remind you, we still won that game, but so I know what it's like in this building, and it's going to be fun. It doesn't mean you win every game here. It doesn't. It means the fans are as connected to the team as anywhere in the country. And now, again, I'm taking the team out to do some preseason stuff in Hot Springs, in Pine Bluff. And I've been to Hot Springs. I've been there twice. Pretty nice. I like the town. I've not been to Pine Bluff. I'm looking forward to it, though.
You want to help, 25, 30 kids before you're done. I'm just wondering- families. I'm just wondering, how'd you come to that number, and if there's any changes in kind of your coaching philosophy through the years?
Well, if my team really, really does well, there's probably 6 families on that team that are helped. And if a team, you could be top 10 and lose early, your top 10 team, but you lose early, you might have 3 guys drafted from that team, 2 guys drafted from that team, if we're recruiting the kind and developing the kind of players that we do. So when I tell you 25 to 30, I'm hoping we have a lot of success, because I know that will lead to a lot of players' lives changing. So, yeah, winning. And I know people say, he cares more about the kids or getting NBA players than winning. You don't need me to go over what I've been able to do coaching wise, do you? I mean, come on. How do you say that other than you want to create a narrative that he doesn't care about winning? Have you ever watched me coach? Like, I don't care about winning, but not at the expense of the kids. I'm not going to be that guy. Not now. I'm not changing at this point. I don't think I can if I wanted to. It doesn't mean they run the place. They are going to be held to a high standard. My best players are held to the highest standard. If I can't coach them, how am I going to coach the other guys? And the guys know it. If you're one of my better players, I'm coaching you harder than anybody else. I will ask the team every year, who am I being hardest on? Sometimes there's like 6 of them raise their hand. But the one year, Carl Towns raised both hands. And I was being hardest on him, because what he had, that talent he had, he could be, in my mind, should have been the 1 pick, which he ended up being. But it took him a while, and they're not always happy. Derek Rose thought I hated him for a while. Did an interview, said, I thought he hated me. Well, he's my best player. I held him to a high standard. I wasn't accepting. So I'm not changing that part of me. But it becomes us making sure we're playing in a way, we're teaching in a way that is preparing them for the rest of their lives on and off the court. I'm only telling you about things that we're doing to get them involved in community. So it's on and off. Talked about the NBA Community Assist Award. Go look at past winners and figure out how many of them were my players, that hopefully they learned with us how to give back, how to create joy. Because if you're not doing something for somebody else, and it's also as a basketball player. I talked to Jamal Murray about Jokic, and I said, he'd rather pass than score. Yeah. Because then he's happy and the guy he passes to is happy. He said, I get 2 people happy. Now, he's still an MVP with a passer mentality. Think about that. So hopefully we can find that guy here too. What else?
Couple, if that's okay. I know you talked about this, and I saw the video. You had Doug Case, the sprints coach, come in, and I think it was Chris Bailey, the Olympic, gold medalist. Is that something you did? Have you done that at Kentucky and other stops, and just kind of what led to that, and how much do you think it helped you?
I
out?
have done that at other stops. And what we've done is you see your players running, and they're running like this, and feet are flying, or knees are out, and you're basically, they don't know how to run. Now you say, what do you mean they don't know how to run? Just run fast, move your feet. No, there's a correct way of running. And I've done it at other stops. I've told the coach, come on, man. And then I listen to what he's trying to teach so that as they're running, I know the same thing and I'm teaching the same way. And he did a great job. He came over and did a great job with the guys. As a matter of fact, some of the guys went back over to the track to work with it. So you think about this, again, something small. They learn to run the right way, maybe stride out that much more than you've been striding. That means it's one less step, the length of the court that you're taking, which means you're faster. Because everybody says you can't get faster. Well, you can get faster. Now, it's not going to mean that your just feet are moving faster, but you're striding out. You're learning to explode off your toes and balls of your feet. You're not landing on your heel, which is a break. You know, I mean, you have to teach all that stuff again when you have young players who are 18 and 19 and have not been coached that way. So, yes.
I probably also saw the video when you brought Nolan Richardson in to talk. Look like the guys.
Did
really
you guys
enjoyed
hear his talk? How good, there were two things about it. On point, everything. There's no substitute for conditioning. There's no substitute for strength and toughness. And then he said, and either you play to win or you just play to play. Which are you? Then he also said, I like what I'm hearing and all that, but he did it in 5 minutes. Why can't you go 13 minutes? This day and age, they can't stay focused that long. So he did all that he did within 5 minutes. It was unbelievable. So yes, and I want him to be a part of the program. I invited Ted Owens and Larry Brown and Coach Richardson, all of them, to come to this Kansas game and sit in the first row and, you know, the history of the programs and all that. Yeah, I want to bring people in to meet with the kids and have an impact on them. So I'm sorry.
He's obviously getting up to an age, like we're all getting older, right? But it seems like he still has his fastball, so to speak. How impressed were you that, I guess he's in his 80s now, that he could still hold an audience like that, a group of really good players?
He and I did something at his golf outing that he does for his daughter, and we sat together and went back and forth. Still really funny, like sharp, and it doesn't take him a minute to think. He has it, and I want him to feel that, just like I did with Coach Hall and Coach Bartow and Coach Lehman, you're welcome in our practice, and all suggestions are appreciated. Come on in and sit down and watch. So he knows that he's welcome to our practice. And, you know, I think it's good for the players to see. And, you know, again, won the national title, could have won 2. The guard gets hurt from UCLA, and Cameron Dollar, who no one knew, goes for 27. What? If that doesn't happen, they win 2 back to back. And how hard is that? And he did it. So he's somebody we all should respect. But
Big Z, where have you seen him improve from where he was when you had him in Kentucky, and then what other areas do you want him to continue working on moving forward?
biggest thing is he's got to get in the best shape of his life, and that's hard, especially when you're 7'2". But you know, he's a great kid, and we just got to figure out where are we using him, how are we using him. He's skilled for that size, good passer. You know, fighting, and on this team, you know, with TB, who's explosive, and we're trying to get him to be an attack player, not just a jump shooter. He's doing pretty good. And then with Jonas, you got that kid that's been in this league, was an all-conference player, physically able to do the stuff you need done, and that's going to help Z get better because that's who he's practicing against every day.
I don't know if retain or hire is the right word, but I was just wondering what was the process for deciding to bring or keep Ronnie Brewer on staff? How'd that unfold?
When you come in, you evaluate and you figure out who needs to be here to help us and who has a feel for what I'm about and what we're going to be about in the culture. And I felt that with Ronnie. He had great support in the community. I knew his ties in the recruiting and telling him, we need to know in Texas, in Dallas, in Oklahoma City, in St. Louis, Missouri, in Memphis, in our state, who are the best young players. All the contacts he has. And then I want him to make sure he ties us to all the former players. I think you saw that we brought some of the guys back and they were introduced on the football field. We just want everybody to understand that, we're standing on your shoulders. This is your program as well as anybody else's. You were here. You did it together. You did it at a high level. We did the fantasy experience and, Joe Johnson and all the guys were back. It was pretty neat. And so I want Ronnie to be that connector for us. So he's done good. He's done good. And the kids respect him. They know him. Thanks, folks.